It's time to give you an update on my video of my employment status and where I am. So if you haven't seen that video, I'll link it up just here. Check that out first and then you'll be up to speed with where we are right now. I just wanted to fill you in on what's happened since I was made redundant and laid off a few months ago. I think we've got some travellers up ahead. That could be interesting. See if they want to interact with me or not. Morning! Interactions with the travellers. We're not even in Essex. I'm getting the old creative juices flowing. I'm organising my thoughts, getting my head together. Being put off by the sound of parakeets. Anything can distract me, anything. Maybe that's part of the problem. There he is. What is going on around here? Seeing a middle-aged man running in normal clothes always makes me a little bit suspicious, you know. Got to be switched on. Come on, Jay, come on, get to the point, get to the point. Okay, this is the point. I mean the physical point right here, where I told you about that last video, just there actually. It was a massive video for me, just talking about it, just actually expressing my feelings and catching that emotional feeling that I had at the time was really tough. I wanted to do it because I thought it was well, it was real. It was 100% real, and it came from a place of feeling, emotion, where I was at the time. I was in a bad place. I was struggling, and I was having a real, I don't know, crisis, I suppose. I was having a bit of a dilemma as to what to do, you know, laid off again. How was I going to bounce back from it this time? How was I going to get out of it? I had absolutely no idea. All I did know is that it'd be worthwhile documenting that moment and maybe sharing it with some of you, some others, just to see if it made a difference to anybody else, anyone else that was struggling too, and just to hopefully, with a view, with a vision that to maybe one day I would get out of it and that I could pass on some of that inspiration to some of you and to show that it is possible. I literally didn't have any idea whether I was going to be unemployed for weeks, months or years. Hindsight is a wonderful thing, and you can look back and say, oh yeah, you know, he was just being silly, of course it was going to work out and all that sort of thing, but you really don't know at that time. You're facing a void. You're looking out into this big space thinking, now what happens to me? Am I just going to join the queue with everybody else? Am I done? Has it crept up on me so fast or so slowly that I've reached that age where you are more or less unemployable, perhaps, you know, and people don't want you at this age anymore? Is that what's happening to me? You know, it could have been. That could have been my reality at that time. I had a sort of a mindset, a determination, even then in the darkest times, that I was going to work at it, work hard, keep searching, keep looking, not give up. Have that sort of mentality that I've sort of tried to strive to have over the years of keeping on going. I wanted to prove that it could be done, I suppose, again. It's really, really hard, as I was saying in that video, to keep reinventing yourself, starting again, all that stuff. It takes energy, it takes huge amounts of energy just to sit back, take a breath, have a think, assess your terrible situation, and form a new plan, basically. And I didn't have the most genius of plans. All I had was I'd saved up for a rainy day. I didn't know how long that would last, but at the same time, I had enough money to get by for a bit of time. I couldn't get too complacent and comfortable and let that just carry on, because very easily a month or two could, before you know it, turn into 12 months. And that money would all just be gone, long gone. And I always had that in the back of my mind. So that was my driving force to keep going, knowing that that wouldn't last very long. Oop, a peeing friend. January of 2024, I got laid off. First disaster. Yeah, man, major panic, proper worries. I got my head down, got stuck in, did what I thought was natural. I hadn't been unemployed for like 12 years at that time. By some miracle, I managed to get a job not too far from me in the same industry. I wasn't comfortable with it from the start. They probably weren't comfortable with it after, you know, several months. They let me go. They made me redundant, or actually just didn't renew the contract. That was a bit naughty. They kept keeping your probation going. So I came away with that with nothing. So that was the second time it had happened, and that was early in 2025, earlier this year. And that one got me really worried because I had nothing off the back of that. So I had no money, I had nothing coming in from that one. So that really set the panic going. And that's when I made the video. Yeah, so I was back to square one again, and I had to find a way to get out of that mess. I am under one of the biggest oak trees in the area. It's a local sycamore gap tree. It's one of those, you know. I tell you, if they cut this down, I think there'd be a riot, a literal riot around here. So what did I do? I started again, got my head down. I went into my usual default mode of minor panic, start looking for jobs. Do something every single day towards looking for a job. I was at it so long, I worked out a bit of a formula. Spend half the day maybe, or 4 hours or so looking for work. The other half of the day doing something a bit more pleasurable for me, so I wasn't driving myself insane. Doing that for too long got incredibly depressing is what I found. I worked out I was better off spending some time on job hunting in the morning, spending the afternoon cheering myself up doing things that I wanted to do. So that was my approach. Here he comes again. Oh, hello. Hello, you're wet, buddy. Hello.
You're not going to take it off, Chip?
No, I'm not. I'm sorry.
He eats everything.
Oh, I bet he does. I know some of you are probably wondering about what I was doing before. I don't want to go into too much detail. It was a good industry. It's quite big in the UK in a lot of architectural areas. It was architectural based. We think of things like interior design, interiors of buildings and exteriors. And it's something I fell into 20 odd years ago when I first came to London. Kind of got a job in that sort of field and built on it. I learnt, but I did expand as much knowledge as I could on it because I had a feeling it was quite a useful thing to be doing. And it has proved useful over the years. You know, it served me quite well. And I gathered huge amounts of experience by doing it. And that experience led me to get better and slightly better jobs and getting better paid and being in a better place. I found that my enthusiasm for it was waning a little bit. Things change in the industries, don't they, you know, and you lose your drive maybe and your passion a little bit. After 25 years doing a similar sort of thing, you do kind of want to do something different for a change. Anyway, that came to an end. So I've still been kind of looking in that industry because it can be well paid. If you're a natural salesman, which I don't think I am, some of you might disagree. I don't know. Let me know if you think, would I make a good salesman? I don't feel like it. And the feeling comes from inside. Feeling like that sleazy salesman. I don't want to feel like that guy just to make that sale. I'm probably overthinking it. I have a tendency to do that. Anyway, there's good money in it if you're a salesman. Stop rambling, Jay. Move on. The point of this video is the update on where I am after being laid off in 2024 and 2025. The update is that I searched and searched and searched. I kept looking. I spent 3 solid months looking for work. Recruiters were coming at me regularly, really quite often, to be honest. So I started to get the impression that, well, maybe I need to broaden my horizons, expand my search a little bit, you know, and start looking outside the box. So I expanded my search and I got really creative with it. I started thinking, well, I'm at that time now where I can come up with anything I can think of. I'm fit, I'm healthy, I'm in a good shape. I keep fit for a reason, and that reason is to keep my options open in every sense. So I can, if needs be, I always had one eye on the future. If needs be, I can do a job that's physical. Not too physical, don't really want to do anything. No, I don't want to be a bricklayer or a builder if I can help it. You know, at this age, that would be just madness, wouldn't it? But I can do sort of jobs that involve moving around, walking, maybe a bit of lifting, carrying, stuff like that. It's not the end of the world, I can do them. I always knew that when I was young. Keep yourself in good shape, you know, you'll have more options available to you. That's how I saw it, and it's worked out. Expanded my search. I started looking at wacky ideas. Maybe I could be a train driver. How does that work? It's not really that straightforward. And I started looking at all sorts of, you know, random industries and think, well, you know what's happened now. It's 3 months in, I might as well just start looking elsewhere. One day, actually a friend of mine, he suggested something and it was a bit crazy. I thought, don't you realize that you've got to be qualified for that, you know, seriously qualified? Yeah, you can't just step into that role and get on with it. Well, it turns out you sort of can. Yeah. It's something I've never ever considered before. In fact, I've actively stayed away from things like health, medicine, whatever, health care as they call it. I didn't want to know. It was just not for me. In the back of my mind, I thought, there's not much money in this. I know that, unfortunately. There's not much money in it. There's really not. So I wrote it off and then had a little look. When you think of an ambulance driver, I think of the NHS, the emergency ambulance vehicles all around the place, and paramedics. And I thought, you'd have to be a paramedic, surely. I thought no more of it. What drove past me that day was more of a private company type ambulance. And I thought, wonder what their spec is, what's their criteria? And I looked into it, and it turns out that you can apply for roles like that. And you don't have to be qualified as a paramedic or anything medical really. Turns out you'll just get lots and lots of training before you're allowed to go out and do the role. So I made an inquiry, got asked to come along for an interview. And I went along to the interview. Man, it was so out of my comfort zone. I walk in this room, there was loads of people there, all sort of hanging around, waiting to be seen as well. But it turns out it was a group, a mass group, one full day long interview type thing, where you've got to do aptitude tests, driving tests, pass a theory driving test, physical ability tests. And if you fail any one of those along the way, and there's loads of them, sorry, thanks for coming, good luck. If you get past day one, you move on to the other days. So I had a call, you did well on that day, and we'd like you to start on this date. First of all, that phone call is killer. That absolutely sends you through the roof. It's not like a dream role, but just getting that phone call where somebody says they want you, that feeling is just like nothing else. It had been 3 months I've been looking. Tried something random. What the hell, what have I got to lose? Because at this point, I've been 3 months with no money coming in. So literally, what have I got to lose? Absolutely nothing. Come on. That was my thinking. That's what was going on. Come on. Desperately trying to keep a long story short, I got the job. I went along to that date that they gave me, and I was there with 14 other people, all starting that training at the same time on the same day. And that training, believe me, was pretty intense. And do you know what? I loved it. I was doing something brand new. I was learning new skills, and I was potentially getting into a brand new industry that had never ever crossed my mind before. So there I was, in this world of which I knew absolutely nothing about. These people with me, they don't look like my kind of people, if you know what I mean. Being a bit snobbish and all that, thinking, I'm better than this. But in reality, they were a really good bunch. The trainers were really, really good. The people on the whole were really, really good. This isn't bad, You can make this work. And what's more, I was excited about it. I love learning new things, right? I'm not the most academic of people, I'll be honest. But I do still enjoy learning things because there's different ways to learn things, aren't there? I was all enthused about it. And the training course has been intense, full on, hell of a lot to take in. And now I'm out there doing a job and getting paid for it. It's not loads compared to zero coming in. I've now got money coming in. I'm not going to live a luxury lifestyle like I used to do, but I can manage and I'm happy. Another plus point with it is there's overtime available. And I did my first one yesterday. So, swings and roundabouts. Guys, this has probably been a much, much longer video. It's a long overdue video, but it's probably much longer than it should have been. Sorry about that. If anybody was waiting for an update, I don't know if you were. But in any case, I guess what I want to say is that, it's a good story. It's a good news story. And I'm here to tell you that not to give up. Yeah, times can be hard. Times can be dark. Everybody goes through them. We all go through them for one reason or another, especially on the employment front. It's rough out there. I know it drove me mad. It got me terrified, really, really worried. But as I've proved yet again, you can pick yourself up. You can get out of a hole. You can be in a deep, dark hole and you can pull yourself out. So don't give up. Keep going. Keep trying. I was so inspired this morning. Eventually, after all these weeks and months of stressing and worrying and working my arse off, quite honestly, with work, learning all that stuff, learning a new role, completely different industry, starting from scratch, staying up late, studying it, doing my YouTube, this channel and the other channel. Obviously, if you're not subscribed, please go over to Scuzzy London. That's my main channel. That's where most of my efforts go. That's where I spend all my time filming, editing, recording, putting it all together, getting weekly videos out. I'm trying to improve upon them. I'm working my hardest as I can, because ultimately I don't want to just stay in a job role or be reliant on a boss. I want to be my own boss. That's the object. So if you can go over to Scuzzy London, have a look, subscribe, help me grow that channel. It's really taken off. There's a few videos there now which are in the thousands. Go across, I'll put a link down below. But don't give up, guys. That's what it's about. Keep plugging away, expand your horizons, maybe think of some other options. There will be other possibilities out there. You don't have to stick within your world, your industry. You can try something new, even if it means taking a bit of a hit, starting lower down and building yourself back up again. My optimism for this job is strong, because there are opportunities. They're a massive global company. They employ literally thousands and thousands of people over the globe. So don't give up, guys. Keep going, keep trying, keep looking for work if you are looking for work, or if you've changed your job, if you've done something similar, changed from one industry to a completely different one at a middle-aged, over 50 like I am, over your 50s, then let me know. I would love to hear about it, because I love good luck stories. I like people that work and try to get there and work hard. I'd like to hear sort of similar outcomes if possible. Or if you're struggling, well, if it helps to share it on the comments or say anything about it, I'd also love to hear that too. And I'll try to get around to responding to anybody and everybody that comments like I did last time. Yeah, anyway, I don't know how to end this video, so I just want to say that thanks to all of you that watched, and I'm sorry if it's a bit long, but it's a good story, you know? It's positivity and you can do it. All right, guys. Thank you very much, and maybe I'll give you a further update one day when I progress a little bit. All right, see you later. Enjoy this big tree for now.